cuties, it's Brittany with Stitches of Love Quilting, and we are ready to get started making our adorable Hop to It block of the month quilt. So we're using our embroidery machine, and this month for the very first block, we're going to make Bowie Bunny. He is super cute. He's got his little like leotard on. He's just hilarious. I love him. He's so cute. He's got a cute little tulip off to the side. So what you're gonna do, of course, is read through your pattern, especially your first pattern. There's a bunch of pages before you get to the pattern that have a bunch of really helpful information about notions, FAQs, how to change your address or update your payment method, things like that, how to get in touch with us if you have any questions, all that good stuff. So when you open your pattern, you'll always want to read through it. And what I like to do is organize myself. So you can see off to the side, I have little piles of pieces. And what they are the piles that coordinate with my steps. So the pieces that I'm going to put in place. So I have a pile of pieces 1 through 4, 6, 7, 10, 12, and 14, all in one pile. Then my next pile is 5, 8, 13, and 15, and so on. So I keep myself organized before I get started. And then I read further into the pattern and I arrange my thread colors off to the side in the order of appearance. So I have my avocado, butterfly gold, tawny tan, wildflower, and peach. And then my white thread is already on my machine. Now to organize your applique pieces, I keep my pattern pinned up on the side. Excuse me for doing that. So you can organize your applique pieces using your placement guide. You can also place them fusible side up onto your reverse applique pieces, and you can actually number the back of them. So I number the back of all of my pieces so I know which piece is which, and I keep these handy off to the side. I actually clip them up on both sides of my machine because I have something holding my camera that I can clip to that gives me all of my notes in my pattern. So you have your background fabric. I am using the X's. What's in your kit is the super cute coral circles that is a Lori Holt fabric. That's what you're going to use throughout your quilt. In the video tutorials, however, I'm going to use the X's. My piece is actually cut down smaller than what your piece is in the kit, so you'll have much more fabric to work with by an inch total on the sides. And ultimately, you're going to trim your blocks 1 through 12 down to 8 inches, so you have more than enough fabric to work with because we give you about a 10-inch piece. So you're going to load the white fabric in your machine, and the first step that stitches for your file 1 for Bowie Bunny is a line across the top and the bottom. Now I put my hoop sideways in front of me because it fits on my Steady Betty that way. It also fits nicely in the camera view. And so what I'm going to do is take my background fabric and just plop it right on top. So it's centered in your hoop and it extends past that top and bottom stitched line. And you're just going to put a little bit of tape at the top and bottom. We're going to keep the white thread on all the way through step 18. So until the pattern tells you otherwise. And so what's going to stitch first in our hoop is, again, this top and bottom line, which will also help us trim at the end. It'll be a guideline to use with your placement guide. And it's going to give us our first round of applique outlines. Okay, so we have our first round of applique outlines stitched. I'm going to put my hoop right on my Steady Betty. That just keeps everything nice and secure in my hoop. I'm going to go in and remove the tape because I want to not accidentally iron on that and get my iron all sticky. So we're going to put our applique pieces on in order numerically. And so we're going to start with 1 through 4. So we have number 1, which is our little leaf over here. It has a really cute little subtle basket print on it. It's like a tone on tone. It's really cute. It's like a clover with like a dark clover green for the colors. Really cute. Now we'll put piece number 2, which is the green kisses, not kisses, cross stitch fabric. All of these are Lori Holt fabrics. They're super cute. And when I'm putting my pieces in place, they fit perfectly in the stitched outline. So convenient. Now we have number 3. I call this yellow square plaid internally in our company. I can't remember what it's called from Lori Holt, but it's got a fun name. But here internally, we skew everything, and then we also have a second line in the spreadsheet that's like our vernacular within the company, if you will. Fabric description, yellow square plaid. That's what I call that. Laser department calls it that, but of course they have the skews to back it up. Now we're gonna put, this actually is the body. It looks like a sheep head with 2 ears of a sheep to me, but I don't know if any of y'all did the U-Troop quilt. Doesn't that look like one of the U-Troop little sheep? But this is actually the little chest and arms of Bowie Bunny. So we're gonna put this right in place. And when you have a piece like this that extends into some wonky shapes, just make sure you have it in place all the way across and then work your way over, pressing it into place. Now we're gonna jump up to our 2 ears, number 6 and 7. So number 6, put that in place. And just make sure that little point comes all the way into the spot. There we go. And then number 7, which is our right ear. And again, you have 2 little points down here that can help you guide. And now we have some leaves. We have, let me make sure I get the right one first. Number 10 is over here on your top left, or for the screen, your bottom left. There we go. Let's give this a press. Now we're gonna do leaf number 12 right over here. There we go. Make sure your point's in there good. And then the final piece of this step is our little first piece of our little checked flower, number 14, right here in the center. Make sure this guy's nice and lined up. Okay, so now we'll continue with white thread, and our machine will give us our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines, and as always, we're gonna iron them on in numerical order. So number 5 is gonna be the first piece. Follow along in your pattern. This is step number 11, where we're ironing on pieces 5, 8, 13, and 15. So up first, these fantastic leotard. Oh my gosh, I can't even with this. And so just work really hard to get him in place. Well, you don't have to work really hard, you just have to wiggle him till he's perfectly where he belongs. And once you have it in place, he just falls perfectly. See? Right where he belongs, like a good little leotard wearing bunny. It cracks me up. This is like one of my favorite blocks. I mean, they're all just so stinking cute, but this one has some character. Okay, so now we're gonna put piece number 8. We're gonna give him a face, or a head, I guess I should say. So, get it right in place. Make sure his little cheeks are where they belong. And give it a press. Now we will do leaf number 13, just like so. And it's a super cute little floral print on this leaf, really cute. Again, Lori Holt fabric. A press, and now we have a flower center. So this is piece number 15 that we're gonna put in place. Just like so, and you can see this little corner right there, that little 90-degree angle, or pretty much a 90-degree angle. That is where they will align. So now put this back on your machine and we'll get our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines. We're on step 13, so we're gonna iron on pieces 9, 11, and 16. So first up, number 9, our cute little nose. Every bunny needs a nose. And just make sure you have that in place. Give it a press. Now we will do, this is number 11. And we're stitching that, or we're ironing that in place now, because it needed to be on after his little face went on. And then next up we have, number 16. And so we will just put that right in place. And if you want, when you're using your paper placement guide to number your applique pieces, you can give yourself a little arrow pointing up. And that way, when you go to put your pieces in place, you can read that writing on the back of your piece and know which direction. When you have, that's a great advice for anytime you have like pieces that are like a circle or a funny shape like a flower where you're gonna have to kind of like turn it to get it just right. Use your placement guide, give yourself an up arrow, and you know where to put it. So now we'll put our machine back on for our next round of applique outlines. Okay, so now we have our next round of applique outlines. We are going to start with piece number 17. So we're on step 15. So 17 is a flower center. Now, all the flowers and all the flower centers are all just a little like wonky. They're not like a perfect circle or a perfect oval. So again, pay attention to get them into the right place. Now we have number 18. You can see I'm kind of doing my little arrow trick. So I'm kind of turning it before I put it in place. There we go. Looking good. Now we're gonna iron on piece number 20, like so. I have them turned the right way on your reverse applique pieces too. I'll give you a little tip in just a second before we continue, after I put the next piece on. So just make sure that's matching up everywhere. Give it a press. And now the last piece of this step is number 22. And he's gonna go like so. Perfect. And give it a press. So let me show you what I'm talking about, my little tip. When you get your pieces in your kit, you know how they're in like a little row, right? In the rectangle before you just trim them out, give it a little snip. That actually lines up directly, if you put the fusible side up, they're gonna line up directly over how they're placed on your reverse applique pieces. So it helps you number it, and you can draw the arrow from here as well. Just a fun little tip. Another thing we do to make the pattern super, super easy for you. So now we'll continue on with the white thread for our last round of applique outlines, which are gonna be the 3 flower centers. Okay, so let's put those last 3 pieces in place. So we have number 19. Put that right here, like so. There you go. I'm gonna get my iron. Be careful not to burn yourself when you're doing something little. Then we have number 21. There we go. I love it. Right in place. And now our last piece to put on, number 23. And then, so what we're gonna do for the remaining steps, I'm gonna take my hoop on and off still, because we're gonna do our thread color changes. But for you at your machine, you don't need to take your hoop on and off anymore. So next up, we're gonna continue with the white thread for one more step. So now we're on step 18, and our machine is going to stitch all of these checked flowers, the outer buttonhole stitching on all of those for us. All right, can we talk about some perfection? Look at those perfectly stitched little flowers, and it's really fun. It's all in one stitch around there. Really, really fun. So next up, we're on step 19. We're going to load 1177 avocado. Remember, you don't need to take your hoop on and off. I'm only doing that for the tutorial. So when we put this on, pieces 1, 2, and 10 through 13. So our flower petal, our stem, and then our leaves and the accent lines on the leaves will be stitched next. Okay, let's take a look at our leaves and the accent lines in them. And then we have our flower stem and petal looking adorable. So now we're going to load Butterfly Gold 0567. This is step 20, and the cute little tulip will be stitched. Okay, take a look at your tulip, looking cute as can be. Now we are going to load medium tawny tan 1056. This is step 21, and all of our cute little bunny parts will be stitched. Okay, let's take a look at our super cute bunny. Oh my goodness, adorable. Just loving it. It looks so cute. So now we're going to load a beautiful color wildflower 1812. This is step 22, and all of the flower centers and then this crazy leotard that our little Bowie Bunny is wearing will be stitched. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even. Look at the flowers and this little leotard. I'm like, it just makes me giggle. It is the cutest, silliest little block. I love it so much. Okay, so now we have our very last thread color change, and that is because our little bunny needs a nose. Ta-da! Your first block Bowie Bunny is all done. Let's take a look from top to bottom, close up. I mean, come on. Are you just loving this? Are you so glad you joined this block of the month? It's gonna be so much fun to stitch together. Okay, so this is block 1 where you're gonna finish now. You're gonna look at your pattern step 24 and 25. You are going to trim this to 8 inches square. So you can use this as a guideline for 8 inches from the top to bottom, but then you will wanna measure at the sides because your guideline right here is only 7.5 inches, and you are trimming to 8, like it says in the pattern. I only go to 7.5 here because I didn't want to have an issue for anybody's hoop, right? So that is why you're going to use your placement guide and your ruler to trim to a perfect 8 inches. Make sure you remove all of your stabilizer, and then you want to store your blocks safely. I like to have either a drawer in my sewing area, or if you have like one of those little plastic bins, then they'll stack up nicely throughout the year as we're making this quilt together. And I hope you are looking forward to block 2 already. I know I am. I can't wait to make it. And happy stitching.